Hey guys, Courage is going to my video, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different this year. I'm going to do the reactions, the predictions and the squad reviews all in one. Just going to be one extended long video, so it's going to be tough bearing with me, but please do it. It's going to be fun. Anyway, so starting as usual, I'm going to go at 8th place. I'm gonna say that these guys are gonna go back to back wooden spoons, and it should tell you that I'm going with Rajasthan at 8. Why am I going Rajasthan? Last year they were really carried by only by Archer, and towards the end Stokes found another 11. But apart from that, it was and Tewatia. Yeah, I mean, who's gonna forget Tewatia? But apart from that, it was like there was literally no one in that team. And this year they don't have Archer. They have Stokes, and I'm guessing Tewatia is not going to be able to repeat his heroics. He pulled off a low-scoring thriller, and he's pulled off one in Sharjah, which has ridiculously small boundaries. But apart from that, Tewatia, I doubt he's going to have too much of an impact. I mean, I think he had a very moderate side Mushakali, and even if you take a look, apart from those 3 games, he hadn't really done much throughout the season. It was just those 3 games really just sat in the front of people's mind. They just called him a miracle man. But so that's not they don't have they have they don't have enough options for the middle order. And now Morgan's come out and said that Butler and Stokes are going to be opening the batting. So what does that tell you? That means that now they have literally no one who's going to carry that middle order. And therefore, that is how I'm going to build my team. I'll take you through my team before we go ahead. What I'm going to say is Butler Stokes opening, because we have that input. Samson's going to take a lot more responsibility. There was this ridiculous stat about Samson that I saw that said that he scores 50% of his runs he scores in his first 3 games. So out of the 14 games, he's going to score half of his run aggregate in the first 3. And then people figure him out, and he's unable to do it. He's like this. I talked about this in the initial auction review, where he just kind of sparks for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. He's got high intensity for 3 seconds or something, and then he quickly falls back down. People, either you sustain intensity for long periods of time, or you sustain moderate amount of intensity for long periods of time. I don't want you doing high intensity for short period of time. It's good enough to be an impact player, but not when you're supposed to be carrying the team around. He's a new captain. That is going to play a role as well. I mean, he's got Butler and Stokes around him to carry the weight as well. And Butler is a pretty good captain. And so that is there. So Butler, Stokes, Samson, where if you're not going to get runs from Butler and Stokes, you're not going to get a lot from Samson either. I don't know how much. Sometimes people take responsibility really well, like Shreyas Iyer did, but sometimes they may not take it really well. So I'm guessing Samson's not going to be able to do it, but I'll be happy if he proves me wrong and gets himself he's got a berth to play for in the World T20 with the excellent squad, so that's there. I'm playing Miller at 4. They desperately need someone with good experience in the middle. I was kind of thinking Mahipal Namror, but the guy played 2 good innings, and then RR followed the CSK strategy and dropped guys after they play good innings. So I don't think how much Lamror is going to play, so I'm going Miller at 4 because they need that experience. I'm fine if Miller is not if Miller plays like the Miller of now and gets 30 of 30 and doesn't do a lot, but as long as he's there, it gives confidence for the other guys to tee off. So that's Miller. Then I've got Parag at 5, I've got Tewatia at 6, and Dubey at 7. Again, these are random assorted people. You can't really bang on any one of them to score runs consistently. Then you've got Morris at 8, and the amount of cash they've paid Morris has got to become 2017 Morris. Just give runs, be that impact player. Even if he's any version of what he was last year for those 10 games that he played, if he's anything like that, then Rajasthan will take that. And then I've got Gopal, Tyagi, and then the last part has to go between, I'm going Sakaria or Akash Singh. It's high time Rajasthan look past Unadkat. Now, what does go in Rajasthan's favour is the fact that they play 5 games in Mumbai, 3 in Calcutta and 2 in Bangalore. What does this mean? That is 10 games that actually support the kind of cricket they like to play. This Rajasthan team is a weird team. They don't try to win their 8 home games, they try to win their 8 away games. And they consistently love dominating Mumbai. And so 5 games in Mumbai, but the problem that the disadvantage of this THIS, not DIS, you get the point. Anyway, what I'm saying is that there are going to be teams Right now, if you take a look, Chennai are the only team they're capable of beating, because Chennai are probably going to be, if we are being honest, they're going to play test matches for all we know. So every other team is going to be able to outscore them with the amount of power hitters they have. So even if Butler and Stokes rally them around to get 230, there isn't enough depth in the bowling to carry to give them the ability to defend 230. So Rajasthan have a lot of holes. But what they do have is again a very good core. They can, I think next year they can go and retaining Butler and one of Butler and Stokes, and definitely retain Archer. Even if Archer comes back, it does give you the option of you can get rid of Miller now and Archer slots in, and now you have Archer and Morris. So that's a little bit of a lift for the bowling. But I still don't know. People aren't. We aren't sure how quickly Archer is gonna come back. They have a lot of holes. It's a decently weak team. So I'm going Rajasthan straightforward at 8th place. So now coming in at 7th, I'm not going to put anything there. I don't know why I keep putting it, but it's habit. So coming in 7th, again I'm going to go for another back-to-back, and that's going to be, as you can guess, Chennai Super Kings. Okay guys, Chennai fans, don't get pissed or butt hurt, because that's the truth. But here, this time around, I'm actually saying it's going to be a straight shoot-off between the team that finishes in 6th and Chennai Super Kings. Why do I feel CSK? Because it's a good team. It's actually a good team on paper, minus Raina, Raidu, Dhoni. You take those three out and you put three blind dolphin horses that cannot live on land or water and that are high. You could get more runs than those three combined. Weird analogy, but you'll get it. So, I mean, I see a lot of these Chennai fans saying Tala is back, Chinna Tala is back. Guys, you guys cannot be expecting 500 plus runs Raina, 400 plus runs Raidu and Dhoni. That's not happening. I'll be surprised if these guys can come out remembering how to hold their bat. I mean, you can look, it's the end of an era, okay? There are two things you notice here. Raina and Dhoni are well past their prime, okay? You gotta start to realize it's the end of an era. You can't be sentimental. You gotta start moving on. Second thing that I want to ask you is, if Raidu was such a big player, do you think Mumbai Indians are going to be idiots to let him go? He's been part of them for till 2018, and they're not going to let him go if they don't think he's finished. And that's why they're a top team. They don't hold on to things. We're going to see how they're gonna deal with Rohit Sharma. But apart from that, look, holding on to Dhoni, I understand, but I think you could have released Raina and got a lot more high talented. Anyway, so they've got so the middle order is very shaky. That is, you've got Raina, Raidu, Dhoni. The thing is, I'll be happy if they tried and they got out. They don't do that. They actually sitting there, eat up 120 balls, which you can guess is a T20 game. So maybe half of those. I mean, there were so many instances last season, and obviously people don't want to face the problem. They'll create a scapegoat, as Kedar Jadhav was created last season, and Sunrisers, being the smart people they are, they went in and picked him up because he's good. He was just set up in a role to repeatedly fail. He was going to be the scapegoat for whatever shenanigans the other people pulled off. So it's going to be that they lost out on Hazelwood, and then apparently they went and called up on Stanlake and Topley, and both of them said nope. And Topley was right here till last month, and he said last week or something, 2 weeks ago, he was still here and he said no. And they stated COVID concerns, and which we can roughly translate to, I'm going to be sitting on the bench doing nothing. And we can see that. I mean, look at guys like Jagadish and Sai Kishore. I mean, it's very obvious. You perform, you're not going to get played. You need experience. You need that factor coming in, that aura or something, whatever. So, but one thing is they've got amazing depth for each position. It's just that if they can look past Raina, Raidu, Dhoni, team is good, which I highly doubt they will. So, so I'm going to put them in 7th. How do I see them lining up? I'm seeing, so I'm going to say it's going to be either Gaikwad or Uttapa up top. Typically, with Chennai, you would suggest consistency and you would say Gaikwad, but Gaikwad's out of form. Uttapa apparently is looking very good in nets. He was very good for Kerala and the side Mushtaq Ali. So maybe Uttapa is good with a very good shot, and he's come out saying he's not going to be playing in the middle order. And if you're splashing 3 crores on a guy like Uttapa, who's also well past his prime, so that means that they've got a clear role for him. So I'm gonna say 85% Uttapa, maybe the remaining Gaikwad, you can figure it out. Obviously, it's not going to be another high number. So Uthappa and Faf opening. I'm seeing people saying Moeen Ali. You could go Moeen Ali up top, but Chennai are going to be very conservative. They aren't going to think very proactive. And look, it's not like Moeen Ali is the embodiment of consistency either. I mean, this is like a less glorified Maxwell at best. So you have more use for him coming down the order, maybe down the middle. I mean, you got Ali to open and Faf down the middle, then it's a very good team. But obviously, we know the next day Raina, Raidu, Dhoni in that order as well. And then comes the real engine room of the team. If you ask me, you've got Jadeja. I've got written down here: Jadeja, Ali, Sam Curran, Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar. So these five to go along with the five up top. These five and Faf or one of so he's seven up top regarding the trio that I'm not gonna keep naming. So if you can get Jadeja, Ali, Karan, Thakur to bat higher than Raina, Raidu, Dhoni, this team's got the potential to finish in the playoffs. But unfortunately, they're not gonna do that. So seventh it is, and then to round it up, you need Imran Tahir. I don't know why Imran Tahir was sat out last season. Leg spinners had a very good role. I have no clue why CSK sat him out. I'm pretty sure they're gonna play Tahir this season. What's gonna work in their favor? They've got 4 games in Delhi. If they can use those 4 games in Delhi, really useful. But it's not gonna take them a long way. Apart from that, they're playing 5 in Mumbai, and this Chennai Super Kings team's got the lowest boundary hitting percentage. I mean, they had it last year. They were slow in every single phase of the game. If they weren't slow in one phase, it was because the other team was that bad. So that's CSK for you, and I'm going to be putting them in 7. I got to stop pointing. There is nothing there. CSK at 7. So as I said earlier, this was just 6th and 7th was just a direct shootout between water position. So 6 is going to be RCB. Now, if you take a look, I had them as strong title contenders last season. What went wrong? The the release strategy went wrong. I have no clue why I agree with losing out on Finch, but then what hasn't said out during the last year's auction was the fact that the entire process, the reason why he bought those players was because he wanted to try them out in Bangalore. And if you didn't get the chance to use them in Bangalore, I don't really see losing out on them. Udana wasn't so bad. They gave out Udana. I think in hindsight, you can say that Morris would have been a better buy to keep a hold of than release and go for the cash. So they've got way too many holes. What did I say? I like them over the last season. They had bowling depth, they had batting depth. This year they have some amount of bowling depth, but batting is going to be difficult. Yes, they play a good amount of games in Kolkata, but apart from that, I mean, there it's going to suit their pace tag. But you still need to win a significant amount. It's not like you're going to win 8 games at Bangalore. Maybe you can win 3 or 4 in Kolkata, but that's a high amount. Look, I'm not very sure how much Padikkal is going to be able to recreate his last year's form. Once the decks got slower, runs started coming out slower. I think, but it's very difficult. I'll give you the first 11 and we can talk through it. We're gonna say Padikkal, Kohli. Padikkal's back now. He just came back from his thing from recovery today. So you got Padikkal, Kohli. I'm not gonna put AB at 3 because if AB goes early, the team's gone. So I'm putting Azharuddin at 3 because if Azharuddin goes, it doesn't matter. If AB goes and it's 10 for 2, it's a completely different story and outcomes if they're not good people walking in. If Azharuddin goes for 10 for 2, it's fine because you've got AB to come. So Azharuddin 3, AB 4, we've got Maxi 5 obviously. Washington's in the 6. I've got Kyle Jamieson at 7. I do not know how good Kyle Jamieson's gonna be. I'm just saying for 15 crores, I don't know what people saw in him for 15 crores. They picked him up. I do not know if he's a very good death bowler. He's got good test records and he's got good height. That was one of the main reasons why CSK bought Holder, and Holder was an overwhelming flop. And yes, last year was good for Sunrisers, but initially when he came in, people were like, this guy is like 7.5 feet tall, let's pick him up. It didn't work. Unless the guy's got skills, I don't know. So Jameson 7. I've got one of Siraj or Saini at 8, preferably Saini, because what that means is that you've got Kane Richardson 10 and then you got to play both. I'm saying, not initially. You want initially play both Saini and Siraj in Chennai. There you would play Shehbaz Ahmed. because he's got games last time, so I'm guessing they're gonna put him in. I do not know if I do not think there's any other good spinner. Maybe Zampa, but Zampa's out for the first game. So I've got you got Shehbaz Ahmed and Siraj, and then Saini for Chennai, and then once you leave Chennai, you got Saini, Siraj, Kane Richardson, and Chahal. If you consistently watch, you know that I do not like Kane Richardson. We can use do not like there instead of something else. But this team needs him badly. There's a case for Christian, there's a case for Sam. Sam's is out, hopefully recovers soon. When I'm recording, Sam's was out with the thing, and hopefully he recovers soon. But for me, at that exorbitant price, Jameson's got to play. But again, look, Jameson, Christian, Richardson, all same bracket. Not good players. They're decent. I mean, you can crack the code somewhere else. Christian has routinely done it in the Vitality Blast and the BBL, but he's not able to crack the IPL code. So I do not know what they saw on Christian. Same thing with Jameson. Kane Richardson's fine. Kane Richardson for me even though I don't like him, I understand he's not a very lucky bowler. Unfortunately, people just line him up and hit him through the line easily. But that's unlucky, but he's still quality. I think it's like how they use Saudi in 18, was it? Saudi, even though he's in like a predominantly dead bowler, they had to use him that way because of the international pedigree. That's the same way I think they're going to look at Richardson. And it's very good for Australia as well, the fact that Richardson's here. So that's how I'm looking at Dean Charles out of form. So they don't have runs. They may be able to bowl well, but it's still not looking good for them. So I'm putting them in at 6th. Now coming in at 5 and 4, this is where I'm going to use my power up thing. I'm going to say it's going to be between KKR and KXIP, with KKR finishing 4th and KXIP 5th. What does it come down between the two teams? KKR's got a slightly better bowling than Kings 11. The difference is mostly negligible. Where it changes is how many games is KXIP's top order going to win you as opposed to KKR's middle order. Because KKR's middle order is the best middle order in the tournament by far. I mean, obviously, look, in these discussions, MI doesn't play a role, okay? MI is well far ahead of the pack, not park, what? So, and KXIP have got arguably the best top order. I don't think even MI come close there. That top 4 of Rahul, Agarwal, one of Gale or Malan, regardless, whether you play Gale means higher pedigree with Malan, then I'm going to say MI is going to be best top 4, and then regardless, then you've got Puran. Puran's the next Gale. It's done. Guys were saying Evan Lewis, I think it's Puran. So, I'm going to say KXIP at 5 because they have the same issues. They don't have all-rounders. They have gone with I think they've misunderstood their name. I think they thought they were Punjab Indians or something because they have the Indian problem. Top 6 bat, bottom 5 bowl. That's it. There's no change they're doing there. I mean, you've got Jai Richardson, Jordan, Fabian Allen, one of those guys, but it's still not great. I mean, Jai Richardson can hit a long ball. Jordan can hit a long ball. Fabian Allen's more of a batsman than he's a bowler. So they've got those kind of issues. I'm hearing they're getting Shah Rukh Khan to bowl. I don't know how effective he is. He doesn't typically bowl for Tamil Nadu as well. So that's why I'm leaning towards KXIP. They had a lot of issues with the all-rounders last season because they were looking at Jimmy Neesham. No one calls him James. What? You're not his mother. Don't call him James Neesham. Jimmy Neesham and Glenn Maxey. They were using them as guys who were going to bowl 4 overs on a routine basis. That's like going in with Hardik Pandya and asking him to bowl 4 overs. It's not worth their weight. You got to have an extra option. They don't have it, so that's why I'm inclined towards them 5th. But I can easily see them coming 4th as well. Maybe if look, they've been unlucky for a long time. Luck's bound to change, so hopefully they come 4th. But let's see. Their team, obviously, you've got Rahul. I keep forgetting Rahul. Rahul, Agarwal, one of Gale or Malan, mostly Gale. Nicholas Puran. I'm saying Mandeep Singh 5, Shah Rukh Khan 6. You'll have to play one of, maybe you go Ondrix down the middle and you ask Ondrix at 4 and Puran to slog off, but I don't think. I think Puran at 4 is better. So at 7, it's got to be one of Jordan or Fabian Allen, depending on conditions. So we'll do that. We go Jai Richardson 8, Mash at 9, Murugan Ashwin, Ravi Bishnoi 10, and Mohammad Shami 11. So you take a look. It is you've got 6 batsmen, 5 bowlers. That's the Indian. I mean, unless your 6 batsmen are so good that you can be India, it's not going to work. It's just, again, look, the top 4 can win you games and the bowling can win you games, but on the day, that one of these guys have an off day, you're screwed. That's the only problem. And so then that directly leads me into fourth, which is KKR, where I'm putting KKR, but you can easily be KXP. Like I said, I can't keep repeating myself. But anyway, KKR, why do I see them in fourth? Again, same thing. It's there. They've come very close over the last 2 years. 2018 they made it in, and then it's the same thing basically. 2019, 2020 they're just missing a 2020 they missed out by 0.042 or something, and I didn't even give them a chance. What's going well for them? Karthik's coming in momentum, like I always mention. He's a very momentum based player. He's coming in and he's gonna bat higher up the order, which is a con according to me. DK has got to bat 5. He can't bat anywhere higher than that. But it's a decent team. They've got backups for all their international players. If Russell can start teeing off, we're not even expecting him to be 2019 Russell. If he can be 2020 Delhi Daredevils Russell, that's fine. No one. They just need him to do that specific role for them. Maybe give them a few overs here and there. But if you take a look at my 11, there's an interesting thing that I'm doing. I'm going for Gill and Ben Cutting up top. Ben Cutting's an X-Factor player. You need him up top. I was watching something with AR Shrikant, who's KKR's analyst, and he was talking about how they were planning on giving Cutting a different role. So that's why I'm looking at Cutting to open the batting. Narayan's long past his game. Narayan's not Narayan anymore. Yes, he won you that game against Kings XI Punjab, but and CSK. But is that more those two teams' stupidity rather than Narayan's skills? Probably not. So I've got Gill and Ben Cutting up top. Cutting's not very good against spin, but if he can manage and give them a good start, they'll be fine. Rana at 3. Rana's done very well at 3. You just got to keep having him there. 4, 5, 6 is preferably for me Morgan, DK, Russell, but it could easily be DK, Morgan, Russell. I'll come back to the number 7, and then I've got Pat Cummins, Varun Chakravarti, and then 2 out of Mavi, Harbhajan Singh. All those, I mean, you got one pacer, so Mavi, Nagarkoti, Prasidh Krishna. Okay, no, Prasidh Krishna actually plays. Prasidh Krishna, because he's an Indian player now, so he's got to play. And the last one will be whether you want Harbhajan Singh or Pawan Negi, or you want Mavi, Nagarkoti, Warrior. So that depends. At 7, I'm looking at Tripathi. I think Tripathi is a good move. Tripathi, I'm not asking Tripathi. Tripathi doesn't, I mean, look, if they're 10 for 2 and you got to send in Morgan or DK, and then you don't want to have that choice, then you can go for Tripathi. Tripathi did well at the top of the order. He's good at top of the order, but I think if it's within the power play, Tripathi is still capable of giving you those starts. So that is Tripathi at 4. At number 3, I didn't really rate them last year, but I still had them. I rated them highly last year, and then towards the end of the season, I started calling them one-dimensional. It's the Delhi Capitals. They're missing out higher. Huge blow. But the other teams aren't that great. They can easily come through. Team's pretty solid. There isn't much that you need to change, regardless where they're playing. It wasn't like a team that was built for Delhi, essentially. I mean, they've got options if they need to play in Delhi. Maybe they lose. And luckily for them, they're playing the first game against Chennai Super Kings. Like I said, you can play two people and you can get away with it. It's not a great team. So Delhi can go through. They'll be missing Rabada and Nokia only for the first game. It's still good because you're playing only Chennai, like I said. So how does the team line up? Shaw's in very good form. I don't care even if Shaw's not in form. They can afford that luxury actually. Shaw, Dhawan. I'm pointing Rahane at 3. But for the first match, it can be Smith. But Rahane has got to play 3. You have punt 4, Stoinis 5. I would love to see Hetmeyer at 3. But what that gives you is the problem that if Stoinis doesn't fire, you've not got firepower coming down below. So Rahane 3. Rahane can be. No one really cares about Rahane. He can do whatever he wants down the middle. It's essentially a useless position. They've got super punt in form. They've got Stoinis. Hetmeyer or Billings. I think after all the work Ponting's done with Hetmeyer, it's got to be Hetmeyer. So that's 6. I've got Ashwin at 7 because for the time being Akshar isn't there. But once Akshar again gets recovered from the virus, it's good. So they'll probably fit in Akshar there. Apparently Mishra and Ashwin have been both asked to work on their power games, and if there's one thing that we know, Ricky Ponting loves Mishra. So Mishra is going to play 8. Rabada, Nokia. And then last one, if you want to play Akshar, and then you can fit in Akshar there and give Stoinis the pace over demands. Initially, for the time being, it might either be Ishant or Umesh. Both of those are going to be used as new ball bowlers because Rabada isn't that great at new ball. As we saw, his power play stats were ridiculously poor last season. He got 66 or something, his average was. So, and Rajput was the only guy higher than him. And when you have someone like Rajput above you, you would know that you got work to do. So maybe use Rabada down the middle and the depth, and maybe go for Ishant or Umesh up top. So that's Delhi Capitals who are coming in at 3 for me. And that leaves you the remaining 2 teams. We know who's finishing 1. Mumbai Indians are coming top. No need to explain that. Typically their weakness has been that spinner, not having a good spinner. But I think Jayant Yadav or Piyush Chawla, they're more than capable deputies, so they'll be able to hold up their own. Coming in at 2 is Sunrisers. Sunrisers always find a way to manage to come through the playoffs. This time I just feel that they have a significantly stronger team. They'll be able to come in there. Middle order is sketchy, but Williamson's there, and they play 5 games at Chennai. So what does that tell you is the fact that they'll be happy to get to 150, 160 and then apply the choke. Like they might use Chepauk as their fortress. I think they play a few in Delhi Delhi and Ahmedabad as well. So that's pretty useful for them as well. So that's my prediction. I'll just run through it quickly. Starting up top will be MI and Sunrisers. I think again MI Sunrisers, you can guess the team. It's pretty easy. Maybe for Sunrisers you got Warner, Saha, Pandey, Williamson, Kedar Jadhav or Vijay Shankar at 5, Holder 6, Rashid Khan, and then you can Bhuvaneshwar 8. How many foreigners have I used? I'm doing it top of my head. So Warner, so I've used all 4. So then after that maybe they may go back to Garg, maybe go back to definitely Abdul Samad. So Samad 7, Rashid Khan 8, Bhuvaneshwar 9, Natarajan 10. Last one again, toss up between Suchit, Sandeep Sharma, who I don't think will play when there's Holder and Bhuvi, Kaul, Tampi, all those, those random people, random assortments out there. So that will be Sunrisers 11. So MI Sunrisers, DC, Kolkata or Punjab, the other one of Kolkata or Punjab, RCB, CSK and Rajasthan. Let me know if your predictions differ from what I've done. Please leave a like, don't forget to subscribe. Sorry for the extended video. It's just entirely one thing. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you probably at the end of the season or maybe before the playoffs. See ya.